Hey, best YouTuber of all time and the most gifted analyst of the fight game besides Chael Sonnen to ever fucking exist. Let's talk about it. So I was thinking about this. So the Francis and Fury, like the model of that type of fighting, fantasy fights, it's not a very sustainable model, but it's something that we can capture right away because those Saudis love spending some goddamn money. So Dana White has to think about this. So he's not necessarily sending them to another organization to go profit because that fight made absolutely no money. There's no chance that fight had any money that was like garnered. They lost a shitload of money in that fight. But here's the thing. The Saudis almost have a limited bankroll to spend money on. And people will pay to watch those fantasy fights. Well, not necessarily pay, but they'll watch it because it's fucking madly entertaining. So here's what Dana can do. Because actually I make a mistake. The UFC is not going to go out of business. If anything, the UFC can come much larger if it utilizes the fantasy fight method to its own advantage. So follow me. So Francis, he actually didn't really make a bag. Like he got paid a nice, handsome, probably maybe $1 to $10 million. We don't know exactly what the real figures are, but he got a bag for it. And that will pretty much help him get out of debt, get some of his bills. But it helps you really start to think. There's a lot of talented UFC fighters that can speak English, but the problem is they're so broke. Like being a fighter is a very, very broke experience. And then when you're broke, you're also stressing. And so you combine the stress of a fight along with the stress of being broke, along with the stresses, I don't have a retirement plan. How am I going to sell a fight? It's a lot for a fucking fighter to take in. Like most fighters, it's overwhelming to that degree. So this is what you got to do. One of the things that money allows you to do is it buys you time. That's the only thing money really does. But money doesn't make you happier. It doesn't make you sad. It doesn't make you powerful. It doesn't make you do anything else. All it does is it buys you time. And with that time, it alleviates stress. Because like say, for example, if I gave you enough money to cover all your bills and expenses for the next year, you would be less stressed. That's a big burden off your back. So now you can kind of focus on things that actually matter. And that's where the fucking key is. See, if Dana let those guys go out there and go fight, like fantasy fights, go fight boxers, go fight taekwondo guys, just let them go fight whoever, and they come back with a bag, then Dana can be like, all right, now we can actually really set your build up because now you don't have to fight so much. Now you can actually take some time to be creative and actually go live your life and document how your life is going. Because what people don't understand is, like if the Francis John Jones fight, that would have been a huge, major pay-per-view. People would have paid a lot of money. A lot of people would have paid to go watch that fight. And Francis would have got a way bigger check. And one of the things I kind of realized is Francis wasn't selling because Francis, first of all, couldn't speak English. And he thought people cared about him knocking guys out, which some people do care about you knocking guys out. But that's not the most important aspect of the fight. The most important aspect of the fight is the buildup, the tension that you create before you get to the fight. And see, the reason, like, and I was listening to Chael P., the reason that we're so fascinated after the fight, because usually when the fight is done, everybody's like, oh, man, the fight's done, blah, blah, blah. But the reason we were so, like, enamored with the Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou fight is because what we saw, the spectacle, it broke our mind to what really is fighting. Like, it gave us a larger idea of things that we weren't expecting. So it built the man's imagination. So now if Francis goes to his next fight, he's actually going in as a bigger draw because then people are interested, like, well, how good is he at MMA? Now, Francis is going to fuck it up because he doesn't know how to fucking sell a fight for his goddamn worth. But if we can actually get more guys to get money, so like say we get Sugar Sean a lot of cash, say we gave Sean Strickland more money. If we started giving American stars who are champions more money to go fight these fantasy fights, build their name, build a spectacle, when they come back to the UFC, they got time to actually sit down and think, well, what can I do to leverage myself to make my fight more interesting? And see, that's where the money comes in. That's what Dana White's trying to explain to these guys, because one thing you got to understand about the UFC is he cuts you in on the business, which is actually a very gracious thing because he's the one doing all the risk. See, and I had Dana White wrong. Dana White is actually the good guy in the situation. Because in any other business, for the most part, you don't get a part of the business just because you participated and you took no risk. The only risk that those guys are taking is that they're fighting, but they signed up to be a fighter. That like the fighter, basically, if you want to become a fighter, all you got to do is raise your hand and tell them your weight class. That's all it takes to become a fighter. It's nothing more than that. And so what Dana is trying to tell these guys is, but he doesn't have enough time to actually do it because he's so busy trying to run the UFC. Guys, help me help you. Look, I'm willing to give you incentives by letting you get a piece of the revenue in the way of points for the fight that you sell. So when you sell the fight, and this is why Conor does big business, because Conor understands the game behind the game. The fight game is fighting, but there's a thing that occurs before the fighting, which is the tension and the attention that you can garner that you bring in before the fight. Because that's what people are paying for. People are really paying you for all the tension and all the antics and all the craziness and entertainment. They're paying you for that, and then it gives you the form of paying it, or the reward, the form of your payment for doing all that extra work on the front end is the payment to go watch the fight, the conflict, which is the fight, then the conflict resolution, which is you setting up your next fight to go get another bag. But most fighters are so broke and they're under so much pressure and they're not like able to understand this because they're broke, man. They're stressing. It's like you got to think about anybody else. It's hard to start a business if you don't have any money. If you're broke, if you're just trying to make ends meet on a daily basis. It's hard to study. It's hard to make yourself better if you're trying just to survive on a daily basis. And that's essentially what most fighters are going through. They're trying to figure out how to survive on a daily basis. So if we help educate the fighters, and I think that's going to be the next thing is, if Dana White can go hire somebody to teach fighters how to actually sell a fight, he'll make a lot more money. That's the secret to the game. But see, he can't give out all the secrets. Now, success leaves clues. If you just watch and pay attention to what Dana does, you can understand what he's doing. But essentially, Dana's trying to sell the fights himself. He's using the UFC PR machine, which is a great PR machine because they get you to all these networks. They get you in front of all the eyeballs. They got a bunch of subscriptions or subscribers on YouTube, a bunch of subscribers on Instagram, a bunch of subscribers on TikTok. If he can teach the fighters, look, you don't have to do it by yourself. We'll put the machine behind you so you can garner more attention, but you have to do the part of being entertaining. But most guys are not going to understand that. But they could understand that if they can go get a bag and be able to be a little bit secure. But here's the other part that might turn out. Most fighters are extremely vain and selfish. And you kind of have to be a fighter because it's really a one-man show. And so you have to be kind of delusional and weird to even do that. So he would have to really sit down and educate guys. Like, let me put you through a course of how to use social media to your advantage. Stop just showing people you hitting the mitts in it, because all you guys hit the mitts. All you guys hit the mitts. All you guys train. All you guys are badasses. We get that. So what else do you do? Can you play piano? Do you do charitable work? Tell the story about yourself and tell the story of how you got from here to here so people can then become entertained. Because when you can be able to explain to people and bring them along with the journey, they don't mind supporting you. That's what most people want to do. Most people want to support a journey. They want a community. If fighters learn how to build a community of people who are like-minded, that find inspiration from them, like what Sean Strickland did, they can then grow larger and build a bigger following. But it's going to require some money. So, I mean, if Dana's smart about this, and what we saw is clearly MMA can dust up boxers. So I said, Dana, go let them go fight the boxers. Go let them shine them up. Let these guys go out there, get that attention, get that entertainment value, get a bag, and then come back with that support that's on their back in the entertainment factor. And when they come back to the UFC, they're actually going to be more entertaining to watch. And that's what's going to be the real story. Because that's why Dana had to do all these free shows, because he realized guys like Brock Lesnar gets it. Be entertaining. If you're entertaining, people want to watch. It's so simple. That's why you guys watch my YouTube videos. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share. Apex Sapien out.